going on, everyone? ActivesiN here, and today we're gonna look at a video that IGN's Beyond team made about the Switch. They were asked from a viewer what their thoughts on the Switch were, so let's see what they said, and let's talk about it here.
Lee Chance's Team Beyond views on Nintendo Switch.
I think that the story that we had on IGN in the last few days about how Mass Effect Andromeda is not coming to Switch, I think this is...
I don't care about it anymore.
Well, I will say that we are now firmly in the same place where you can look at like the image for the Sonic the Hedgehog cycle and you can put Nintendo consoles in there. Because I think we all have done that thing now where we've been like, this is the one, this is going to be the system that revolutionizes everything. This is going to be the one that gets all the third-party support in the world. And then the specs come in and then like the battery life come in and like all the other stuff starts coming in. And you start realizing that to have a system like this that can't maximize the hardware capabilities that it's siblings can in the console wars, it means that you have a lot of companies and developers sacrificing their vision to port a game to this platform and thus won't. Plus, you couple that with the fact that Nintendo fans historically do not buy third-party games and never will, no matter how much they say or pretend they will. And this will largely be another system that plays a couple of awesome Mario games, a couple awesome Zelda games, a couple awesome, Animal Crossing, or what have you. Nintendo first-party.
Okay, well, he says a lot of stuff, so we'll back up a little bit. So first thing he says is Mass Effect Andromeda is not coming to the Switch, which is true. EA said it's not coming. It may come to the Switch later if the Switch sells well. That's fine, whatever. He doesn't make any mention of Dark Souls 3 running on the Switch, which the developers have said it was running on the Switch and they were happy with the performance of it. This was not mentioned here. That was a next generation game. It wasn't available on last generation. They don't make any mention of that here. The CEO of NVIDIA has said that games will be easy to port to the Switch from PC, PS4, and Xbox One. So there's no real hardware limitations. Will it look as graphically as impressive as a PS4 game? No. It'll be slightly less quality. But can it still be run on the Switch? Absolutely. It runs Unreal Engine 4, it runs Vulkan, it runs OpenGL, it runs all these things, which makes it easy to port the games to. But let's go forward here. I think we'll go back to that last thing he said, actually.
Party games and never will, no matter how much they say or pretend.
Oh, wait.
Plus, you couple that with the fact that Nintendo fans historically do not buy third-party games and never will, no matter how much they say or pretend they will. And this will largely be another system that plays a couple of awesome Mario games, a couple awesome Zelda games, a couple awesome, Animal Crossing, or what have you. Nintendo first-party games. And you'll get some cool, quirky, weird third-party stuff. And they'll be able to drag and drop a bunch of stuff from last gen and make it portable for the first time ever, which would be really cool to play sort of like, Watch Dogs or Skyrim or something like that anywhere you go. But mostly, it's another Nintendo console, like it or not, and I think in 3 or 4 years, they'll be scratching their heads trying to figure out what's next.
Okay, so he says Nintendo fans do not buy third-party games. He doesn't specify if he means multiplats or third-party exclusives. I'm going to assume he means multiplats because third-party exclusive games on Nintendo consoles generally do sell well. Multiplats, not so much. I'm going to assume that's what he's talking about. A lot of the time, Nintendo games do get worse versions. There's a few cases where they get the same version where it will come later, like 6 months later, like Watch Dogs, for example, on the Wii U. That came 6 months later. No one expected that to sell. Then you get stuff like Just Dance, which sells really well. And there's other things. But like, it's a weird statement. He says that no Nintendo fans do not buy third-party games. I wish he had clarified that. But let's go forward here. What was that last thing he said? Let's skip back a bit.
Like it or not, and I think in 3 or 4 years, they'll be scratching their heads trying to figure out what's next.
Oh, yeah. He said you're only going to get a couple Mario games, a couple Zelda games, and an Animal Crossing game. I don't know why they don't mention this, especially him, because he's on Nintendo voice chat, so he knows these things. Nintendo has merged their handheld and home console division together into one division to make games, which they're going to be focusing on the Switch. So they're going to have a good output of first-party Nintendo games this time around, unlike the Wii U and the 3DS where they had split teams, which is why the Wii U got like so few games and the 3DS got all of them because the 3DS sold so well. And we're going to get into that 3DS in a bit here. So like as far as first-party Nintendo games, you're going to see more of them this time around because both teams are merged together working for the Switch.
I'm a little worried about this one. I think Nintendo needs a big win after the Wii U.
They do.
You know, in the console
really
in
do.
the console market. Yes, they broke into mobile, but that didn't do well with their investors. You know, and I'm really hoping that the Switch does well. But there's so many ways it could fail. The battery life could be too little. The peripherals could be janky and not work that well.
Okay, so we're gonna stop here because the next thing he says is really dumb. But he goes on to say they need a win in the home console division, which is true. The Wii U did not do well. They need this to be a success. He talks about them getting into mobile, and it hasn't done well. 90 million people downloaded Mario Run. Yeah, only 3 million bought it, but that's 90 million people that download it. That's 90 million people that they're gonna advertise the Switch to through the app. There's a reason. There's a reason that thing is always online. It's not to check your stats or whatever nonsense Nintendo's saying. It's to send you advertisements. So that's 90 million people they're going to send advertisements to. Well, let's listen to what this guy says next because it's I don't know where he gets this information from, but let's see.
Yeah, and that's what worries me about this platform. And then we're seeing like when it runs on the screen, it runs at a lower FPS than it does when it's docked. I mean, like all that stuff is super concerning this early. And
okay, I'm going to play it one more time just so you can hear what he said. Let's back up a little bit there.
Like when it runs on the screen, it runs at a lower FPS than it does when it's docked. I mean, like all.
Where is he getting this from? I've never seen any rumor stating this. We have seen the Switch live at Jimmy Fallon playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, both docked and undocked. The frame rate did not change. Maybe he meant resolution, because the resolution does drop down to 720p according to all the rumors, and it's 1080p in the docked mode. I've never seen any mention of the FPS dropping, which would make no sense. But again, none of his panel mates correct him, so we're gonna have to assume they believe this as well. Let's go forward.
All that stuff is super concerning this early. And I know there's a big event coming up on the 12th, and we're going to know more.
Yeah, we're going to know more in about a week and a half.
But yeah, I'm worried. I want it to be an awesome console, and I want that third-party support and everything, but I just don't know, man.
I'm looking at this thing like it's going to be the best handheld Nintendo's ever made, and I'm not looking at this thing like it's just another lackluster console. Because I think as a console, it's not going to be great when put next to the PS4 or the Xbox One. It's got no VR capabilities. It's 1080p. I mean, people have even said like it can do VR. No, you don't want a 720p screen on your face for VR. Trust me, you just don't.
We have to trust him now. Trust him after he just did not correct his friend there on the FPS of the Switch. But that's okay. Whatever. We'll let it slide. Maybe 720p this close to your face in VR. Maybe that's not good. Then he says it's only 1080p. 1080p gaming is not acceptable anymore, apparently. Because it's not comparable to the Xbox, which is generally a 900p console, and the PlayStation 4, which is a 1080p console. I'm not really sure why he would say something like that. Pretty bizarre to me, but let's go forward.
Just doesn't work. But Nintendo always does this thing, and I've noticed this as a lifelong Nintendo fan, is like they have an announcement or there's a rumor or there's something like that, and then all of a sudden you start to see all the holes in it. It sounds like the greatest thing in the world. They're like, hey, Super Mario Run, it's gonna be this, this, and this. Oh, it's $9.99. Oh, it's always online. Oh, it's only 24 levels. Hey, there's a new blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's this hole. Like
Okay, so Super Mario Run, actually I do agree with him when it comes to Super Mario Run. $10, while to me and you, $10 for a Mario game may not seem like a lot of money. It actually seems like a good deal. To mobile gamers, they're more used to free-to-play games. I think Nintendo misread the market there. They should have made this a microtransaction game. And it having 24 levels, I don't think that's really an issue. That seems like a lot of levels for a Mario game on a cell phone. Being always online, that was a mistake. I think that should have had an opt-out option at least. But let's go forward.
NES Classic. You're like, oh, this thing looks awesome. Oh, you can't pre-order it. Oh, you have to get up to reset it.
The cord is
the
2 feet
cords
long.
are 3 feet long. So it's basically just like it's like 1 step forward, 10 steps back every single time.
Okay, and with the NES Classic, again, I actually agree with him when he talks about the NES Classic. You could not pre-order it. You couldn't find it on day one. A lot of people, I found it, but like a lot of people couldn't. And even today, a lot of people still cannot find it. Having to get up and press the reset button just to get to the main menu, that's dumb. And the cords being 3 feet long, also very dumb. So I actually do agree with what he says there.
Yeah.
So cautious optimism on this one. How do you feel about it, Max?
I want it to be great. I want it to be awesome. I really wish that this could be the thing where, you know, Nintendo goes, oh, okay, we'll sort of toe the line now, and we'll, you know, get people back on board with, you know, just get some third party stuff on there. Like, I mean, it's weird to think that games I love on like Sony platforms started out on Nintendo. You know, like I love the PlayStation because it's kind of the Super Nintendo, which the N64 wasn't. You know, and it's just I want them to do something that like completely makes me go, oh yeah, gimme, I want that now. But I
Bring back Mega Man.
yeah, I mean they're gonna have to do a lot to make me even like remotely consider pre-ordering.
I mean, like let's look at some of the biggest third-party games of 2017. Right off the bat, you have Red Dead not coming, Mass Effect Andromeda not coming. I mean, I'm sure that
Not yet. I mean, they're still open to the idea.
Yeah,
But I mean,
Okay, and the rest of it, he just makes a joke about Mass Effect. But so this guy in the second guy to the left, I don't know his name, I don't care. But he says that he wants third-party games on the Switch, and that's the only way he's gonna pre-order this thing, which is bizarre to me because you would have to assume the 4 of these guys already have a PlayStation 4, and perhaps they have an Xbox as well. 2 devices that play third-party games. Maybe he means third-party exclusive games, because why would you want to have the Nintendo Switch play the same games that you're gonna play on your PlayStation 4 and ignore the entire first-party lineup they're going to have, again, with their handheld and home console divisions merged together with a higher output of games, first-party games for the Nintendo console, the Switch? Why would you want to play third-party games as your priority, as opposed to having an entire lineup of games you're not gonna get on your PlayStation 4? This always blows my mind when people say this. And they all kind of say this, yeah, we want third-party games. Well, they can already play that on their PlayStation 4. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. None of them really seem all that excited for the first-party games, except for, what's Brian, I think his name is, this guy with the leather jacket. He's the only one that even mentions the first-party games, which is crazy. The rest of them are just talking about third-party games and battery life. Again, battery life came up twice in this video, and neither time did anybody on here mention that the Nintendo Switch has USB Type-C, which supports quick charging. So you'll be able to charge your Nintendo Switch very fast. It's not like you're going to be charging it for hours and then it dies in 3 hours. You'll be able to charge it very quickly on the go. So personally, I don't see the 3-hour battery life being a problem because they have USB Type-C. If they didn't, then that would be more of a concern. And again, when it comes to the third-party stuff, once again, like I said earlier, the games are easy to port to the console. The Nvidia CEO himself has said so, and we already know that Dark Souls 3 can run on the Switch because the developers of Dark Souls 3 have stated as much. So this was just a weird little video they had. They had effectively nothing positive to say. Everything negative that they said, they wouldn't tell you the other side of it, which I think is crazy. Because these guys are supposed to be journalists. They're supposed to be unbiased. Yes, they said they want this thing to be successful, but that's like shitting on something nonstop and be like, oh, but I want it to be okay. Crazy. But yeah, let me know what you think about this podcast from IGN. I'm not trying to shit on these guys because like I do watch IGN. I think they do good stuff once in a while. But this video was just like, oof, what the hell happened here? So yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.